V94.9 WATV, Isis Jones with you. And yes, again, it's Foodies with the Tea.
Hi.
Got Deirdre, I got Spill No Tea, and I got my one and only Antoine working hard. But today's conversation, if you've been feeling some kind of way about this Roe v. Wade decision by the Supreme Court, you know what? I'm just happy to the fact that we're at a point where we can actually possibly do something different about this. If you feel some kind of way, is there something that Biden, our president, is actually doing right now to help this situation?
He's signing an executive order that will build on the actions that his administration is already working on presently. The order will safeguard access to reproductive health care services, including abortion and contraceptives. It'll protect the privacy of the patients and their access to this accurate information. It'll also promote the safety and security of patients, providers, and clinics, as well as coordinate the implementation of federal effects to protect reproductive rights and the access to that health care. So basically, he's making sure that we'll still be able to get the things that we need, regardless if your state actually makes abortion illegal.
And I guess my concern is that, again, all of this spears from the point of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court was stacked. When we had Kavanaugh basically take his seat, we basically knew we were going to be in some issues. That's one of the reasons they fought so hard to actually, during his getting him ready for the Supreme Court. We all know that's just kind of a show per se, because they've already made their decision, so to speak. But this is one of the reasons why it's so important for us to vote. And then a lot of folks out there kind of like, well, I don't have to worry about this because I'm not getting an abortion. You don't know what's going to happen, boo.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
And Deirdre, I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts is having a teenage daughter, just as Toya. I think it's definitely one of the things that we definitely need to make sure that we get out and vote about. We need to vote for sure. I do not like the limitations that are trying to be put on females. Because it's limiting us. It really is limiting us. And then, just abortions, everybody, it's a loaded conversation. Abortion is a loaded conversation. It could go left or right regardless. But if you don't believe in it, but yet you're having unprotected sex, look at other options. Exactly. If you do not believe in it, you know what I mean? And if you do believe in it and you live in a state that is not going to allow you to do it, still look at other forms of other contraceptives. Because if this goes the wrong way, you could definitely be penalized for having the abortions.
Yeah.
I think we should educate our young ladies, as we were talking about earlier. We definitely need to educate them. We can't say don't have sex, because just as like anyone, you gonna do what you say, what your folks say don't do.
You gotta do it.
You're gonna do it anyway. So definitely, don't be afraid to introduce other options and contraceptives to your children, boys and girls. You know what I mean? Boys and girls, because it's something out there for everyone.
Piggybacking off of that, like growing up, we didn't have the conversation. The conversation we had about sex was, don't do it. Keep your dress down and your panties up. Don't let the boys play in your flower bed. And it's like, why? Why not?
Keep your turtle in your pants. That's what my grandma used to say.
You're what? You're what?
Don't let the boys play in your flower bed. That's what my great grandma used to say.
Pocketbooks, flower beds, turtles. I'm so confused.
Turtles, I'm telling you.
I mean, I don't think it was necessarily the fact of they didn't want you to experience that. I think with sex, it warps your mind, if that makes sense.
Yes.
It makes you,
definitely.
You know what I'm saying, a little crazy. And especially for it to be your first time with a person, I think it can take you overboard than where your mind at that age is prepared for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it was more so just to tell you don't do it, and you don't do it, and I'm okay with that, but not to tell you the reasons behind that.
Right.
And then that makes you curious to want to see what that is.
So to see what it is. Exactly.
Right. Because I don't want to, but look at the fact of, we got to go there because it's our favorite show. P Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes Dollar just end up getting pregnant.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So it's like those cycles still repeat themselves, but how do you break that and give you the accurate information that you need that protects you in both spectrums, mentally and physically?
Mm-hmm. Because she's the same age. She's the same age that Mercedes was when she got pregnant with her. Mm. So it's like a continued, and I know they never had the conversation of things to do to keep that from happening, but it's just, we have to do better. We have to do better.
We have to create a safe space for our kids to come and talk to us about these things. And we have to, it's those conversations that you don't want to have. That's just like, if you have a daughter, you don't want to have the mother nature conversation. It's always an awkward conversation, but the mother nature and the sex conversation is one and the same. It's one and the same. So we're all a little uncomfortable talking about it. But as the adults, we have to put our uncomfortability aside to make sure that the children are well educated.
Oh, you think if you start off early, would that put you in a position like Jada Pinkett?
No.
Because Jada Pinkett, with her grandmother, she said she taught her how to self-please herself. I think that goes along with a sex talk as well. But do you think that would put kids in that spectrum to start something early that you're not really mentally able to comprehend?
Definitely, especially with self-pleasuring, that would definitely start you somewhere that you wouldn't understand.
Yeah,
you wouldn't understand. It was too early. Because I think she said it was like she was like 9.
Why
do you know what I would?
I can.
If I was still watching Power Rangers, hoping
you know
that
what I mean?
One day turn into Storm from X-Men. I mean, I don't know what these people from 9 that's now they doing. They pop locking and twerking in they TikTok videos. So it's like, what do you go?
They had way more access to things than we did. So you could say, don't watch this because it has this. You could turn on any show at any given moment and see what your mama said don't see, don't look at. You know what I mean? So, it's just really about, to me, self-awareness. It's just about self-awareness. And if you notice that your child is looking at something over and over again, sometimes we say, we're going to block this or we're going to block that. Ask them what interests them about this. Like you know what I mean? Because their little minds wonder, even teenage minds still wonder, and they just looking at the internet, Googling.
Oh, I know we have questions. I know we have those unanswered things, but my thing is now we have to start thinking in the logic of problem solving. So it's like, now what would be your thing to say the best option for what you've experienced, taking to your experience, what you did your very first time, what you weren't aware of, that now you're aware of. If things were different and I knew those things then, now I think it's time for us in our age groups to come up with those problem solvers. So now what do we do? Now we know that this is the issue. What do we do?
And I think that's my point too with the whole abortion issue. It's, you're talking about abortion, and that's the final straw. That is the litmus. That is, you're definitely taking a life. Okay, let's not confuse that. But the thing is that how do we prevent that? It's all about prevention. I hate going through and being retroactive about something, and I like being proactive. And I do agree with you, Antoine. It's about having those conversations, and I just don't believe we're having enough of them. Now, I don't know about the white community, but I know in the African American community, we're not doing it, and we're not doing it right. So
No.
I think that's a part of the conversation as we move forward. But I am glad that President Biden is going ahead and putting all this information out there in executive order. And hopefully that will give a lot of us a little bit of hope, but will also put us on a path to make sure that we pay attention to how we basically interact with each other, because these aren't just children who are having abortions. These are grown ass women.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
And better
Yes.
yet, men who are allowing themselves to get into these situations and paying for these abortions. Okay.
Yes.
So if you protect yourself and you're preventative about these things, you don't have to worry about.
And I think that should be their punishment. Like, this is my thing, and how I don't believe that anybody can tell anybody to do anything with their body, especially when it comes to conceiving a child, because I don't know how your body works with carrying a child. So my decision in that is iffy, but I think it should only be legal to have abortions if you've been raped or it causes harm to either one of the persons. So, you have some cases that say, if you carry this baby, it might kill you, or it might kill the child. I think that should be the only reason, that you should get one. But if you're just out here having sex casually with no protection, and we have all these different contraceptives, and yet you get to a point to say, I'm pregnant, all I got to do is spend $1,000, go down here, get this baby taken care of, and I'm back doing the same thing. It doesn't teach you anything. It teaches you that, I got a way out.
Maybe you should have a limit.
But if you go to a different state, they don't have your information, sis. So it's like you can have one in Nevada, you can have one in Missouri, you can have
but
one
they have, but a lot of medical facilities are using that same kind of standard of documentation.
They don't.
They cannot.
They don't. I mean, Planned Parenthood maybe, but you're making an assumption that all these databases are collective, and even they're not. So
Well, give them a tattoo, like when they kill somebody, they put the star on their tattoo up right there outside.
You know what? I laugh at this, but I'm like, you know what, Antoine, you might just solve the problem right there.
Be on to something.
It's almost like, when the prisoners be in and they got the strikes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, slash it out. Baby, your time is up. You're out. 3 strikes and you out. We can't keep helping you in this thing like that, because it's not teaching you any responsibility at all. And that's one thing they did back in the day, baby. Once you popped up pregnant, we might send you off, but you're going to keep that baby.
And the people are now even getting savvy as far with this turnover of Roe versus Wade. There was a lady in Texas driving. I don't know if you guys have saw the story, but she's pregnant and she was riding the HOV line, pulled over, and she said, well, I mean, according to the government, a fetus is a person. So technically I have 2 people in the car. That would have been me.
Yeah, like what the law said.
Hey y'all, there is always a way around it, okay? Well, there's
always.
But Foodies with the T, I thank you so much for the conversation and the tea for everybody that didn't know out there.
I did want to mention where they can find the information for on the executive order. Okay, so just for more information, if you want to look into the things that it actually covers, you can find that on whitehouse.gov.
All right, my lovelies. That is Foodies with the T. I got Deirdre, I got Latoya, I got Antoine. Make sure you follow them where, Latoya?
Instagram, the Foodies with the T, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, Foodies with the T.
And get ready for the next episode dropping on Wednesday on YouTube. We had a great time with Melanin and the Amimonosas and Chrisette Michelle. But keep it right here on B94.9 WATV.